The NCAA is in trouble when it comes to college football, and they only have themselves to blame. Yet they continue to point the finger at others rather than taking accountability for their own actions. If this keeps going, it's almost guaranteed the power conferences are going to split off from the NCAA, which will kill college football. James Madison is currently sitting at 10-0 and is not allowed to be ranked in the college football playoffs. They're also not even eligible to play in a bowl game for the second year in a row. Last year they went 8-3 and should have played for the Sun Belt Championship, but were not allowed to, and this year's team will probably have the same fate. Jacksonville State is sitting at 7-3 and will also not be able to play in a bowl game. Previously, App State, Georgia Southern, and Texas State, among others, have all had to deal with the same issue. The reason for the transition rule can be linked to the disaster that was Florida A&M moving up to the FBS level in early 2000s. They had found a lot of success at the FCS level, but never won it all under head coach Billy Joe. Joe had led the Rattlers to 5 straight conference titles from 1995 to 2001 and the semifinals of the FCS playoffs in 1999. Joe and Florida A&M felt that bringing HBCU football to the FBS could be huge for not just them, but for the sport as a whole. Florida A&M Sports Information Director Alvin Hollins told SB Nation, "When we would go to the playoffs, we'd have just drawn 70,000 at the Florida Classic, the annual rivalry between Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. And the guys from App State and everywhere else would be shocked. The large attendance and success made the Rattlers program feel like they could achieve great things at the FBS level if done right." Hollins went on to say, "Coach Joe was enthused about the idea. You could apply for 1A status and you had 5 years to basically raise your money for the scholarships and gear yourself up. In that period, if you thought you weren't ready, they could give you an extension. But when we applied in 2003, that summer, once they approved our application instead of a transition period, we were immediately declared 1A. Florida A&M applied in June 9th, 2003, hoping to be D1A by 2004. They were approved to be D1A on July 21st for the 2003 season. Even though the school needed to upgrade the stadium and get their coaching staff and scholarship levels up, they had 2 months to do so. Because of the approval, the athletes the Rattlers had brought in as transfers were ruled ineligible since they were no longer transferring to a D1AA school, but a 1A school instead. 5 of the 7 were declared ineligible for the 2003 season, which led to a few players leaving. When the 1A application was approved, Joe appeared on board with the quick transition, and the Rattlers went 6-6 as an independent. The sudden jump opened spots on the schedule, and while you were supposed to average at least 4 home games against 1A competition, Florida A&M had 1. With a paper-thin roster, the Rattlers traveled to Illinois, Tulane, Temple, Virginia Tech, and FIU, going 0-5 and losing by an average of 46-12. They lost at home at FAU 38-8. They lost to 1AA Nicholls State, and in the Florida Classic against Bethune-Cookman. They blew a lead and lost it in overtime. The 3-8 record was kind. The Rattlers were easily the worst team in 1A. They also had a ton of NCAA violations due to errors with paperwork, and the MEAC was pissed at the Rattlers. Joe was fired by an interim athletic director, and the school moved back down to the 1AA level. The NCAA's rush job of Florida A&M approving them a year earlier than they wanted led to them creating the transition rules. The NCAA's fuck-up is the reason James Madison can't play in a New Year's Six Bowl. 2 years in a row, they have had a conference title and bowl game stolen out of their hands. This year, they could be undefeated by season's end and could have had a program-changing opportunity that could have helped take their program to the next level in a New Year's Six Bowl. But because of the NCAA's own mistake in 2003, they will not have that opportunity. Speaking of being screwed by the transfer rules, the NCAA looked like a joke with how they handled the Tez Walker situation. Walker started his college career at North Carolina Central after signing with them in February of 2020, but would not get the opportunity to play because they canceled their season that year. He then transferred to Kent State, where he would break out in the 2022 season, having 58 receptions for 921 yards and 11 touchdowns, being named first team All-MAC. After having a life-changing season, he decided to enter the transfer portal on December 9th, 2022, and enrolled at North Carolina a few weeks later, wanting to be closer to home and be closer to his grandmother, who was having health issues which did not allow her to travel out of state. However, after Walker had completed his transfer, the NCAA passed a rule limiting players to just one transfer with immediate eligibility. 2 days after, Walker had enrolled at UNC. They deemed Walker a two-time transfer and ruled him ineligible for the season. North Carolina fought tooth and nail to get Walker deemed eligible, but had their waivers constantly rejected. Head coach Mack Brown called the NCAA out, and the committee membership began to receive death threats. The NCAA came out and tried to get fans to stop threatening them, taking no accountability for their own actions. Finally, they ruled Walker eligible and tried to turn it on North Carolina, saying they did not give all the information, which was a false narrative. On the other hand, Colorado's offensive lineman Tyler Brown developed a father-son relationship with Louisiana offensive line coach DJ Looney, even being named Little Looney, as they were always seen together. They talked alike and acted alike. Brown described their relationship as frickin' frack in the video he released on YouTube a few months back. Throughout his life, Brown struggled with mental health issues and was actually diagnosed with anxiety and depression his freshman year at Louisiana. About a week before Halloween his freshman year, Brown suffered a mental health crisis, and Looney gave him the support he needed to get through the situation. Brown says this is what led to him being diagnosed with the previously mentioned anxiety and depression. Brown, who never had a relationship with his biological father, viewed Looney as his main father figure. One day during practice, Looney collapsed in front of the team, having a heart attack, and passed away in front of the team, in front of Tyler. Tyler's mental health would spiral after this event, and he felt he needed to leave Louisiana because it was a constant reminder of losing his father figure. He decided to return home to Jackson, Mississippi, and enrolled at Jackson State. He decided to join the Jackson State football team in hopes to honor his late coach. At the time, Jackson State was coached by head coach Deion Sanders, who became another father figure to Tyler and helped him with his mental health issues. He earned first-team All-SWAC honors in the first real season playing college football. When Deion left to take the head coaching position at Colorado, Brown decided to follow him. He was ruled ineligible this season because the NCAA deemed his reason for leaving Louisiana, where he watched his position coach pass away in front of him, not good enough to earn the waiver. Even though the rule states a second-time transfer can only receive immediate eligibility if they have a physical injury or mental health condition that pushed them to transfer from a school. Brown released a heartfelt video on YouTube a few months back, and the NCAA still rejected his waiver even though he also transferred and enrolled before the rule change. These two stories are only a few from this year, and there are many more examples. These players are getting screwed by the NCAA, while guys like JT Daniels, who has played for 4 schools since 2018, and Keaton Slovis, who is on his 3rd school since 2019, have never had to sit out a season due to transferring. A disgusting double standard for a system that has not been open about why some players are eligible and others are not. The NCAA also half-assed NIL when they knew it was coming. They were pissed about having their hands forced, so they let it be an open market to try to prove what they had been saying for years to be true. But had they given half a fuck about the actual game and put minor parameters around things would have been much better. They have chosen to investigate some programs while not caring about what others have done. They have not enforced rules with the transfer portal and have shown time and time again they care more about filling their pockets than actually looking out for student athletes. The NCAA is destroying themselves, and they want to point the fingers and blame others, when the only ones they have to blame is themselves. The adults in the room don't know how to take accountability, and it's killing college football. What do you think? Is the NCAA to blame for the problems college football is facing? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more college football content. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.